everybody. Welcome to the first inaugural Chasing the Dream Chase Race on International Women's Day in 2024. I am one of your co-hosts, Jillian Howland, and I'm here with Reese Howell, I believe. I don't think I actually ever asked her last name.
But you know
of Coalition, and he has graciously provided us the space to highlight this exciting event. It's a chase race. And so for those of you who don't know how a chase race works, riders are racing in categories today. So it doesn't matter what who their team is. They're all racing as kind of one team as a whole category. So racers are going to work together with said category. And they're going to try and stay ahead of the other categories. So category D, this is they're the ones who are on course right now. They started on the hour, and they will be racing toward the finish line on the course, which is escaping my mind right now. Surf and turf.
Turf and surf.
Turf and surf.
Yeah, it's a tricky
surf
one.
Surf and turf. Out in McCurry. So right now they are snaking their way through Neokio. Then they're going to head out toward, I think, the eastern. It's a counterclockwise loop. The eastern part of those toward, I think it's Mecca Island. They're going to do a quick little loop-de-loop, a little bit of a climb that we might see some action on, and then it's across the bridge of Mecca Island, and then it's back down the western shoreline, and they're going to finish up in Neokio. So 4 minutes after the start of category D, we're going to see category C on course. Category C is our largest category today, and it's pulling in close to 140 riders, I believe. And then following an additional 2-minute time delay, 6 minutes past the hour, our category B begins. Then finally, at just under 10 minutes past the hour, our category A is going to be released on course to just chase down 140 plus about 99 category D riders, and I think close to 70 or 80 category B riders. And the fun thing about a chase race is that the first person across the line, they're obviously the winner, but then their category is also the winner as a whole. So there's a bit of a handicap situation going here. So category D, obviously they have an advantage because they're starting first, but they tend not to be the fastest ones on course. But if they can work together, they can get enough of a time gap ahead of category C and B and A. And so it's a bit of a unique situation out on course. We should have, let's see, it is 1:05 my time here in Central. So we're 5 minutes past the hour, and we should have category C starting soon, right, Reese?
The C's should be out on course right about now. We will jump back and take a look at them. I'm just enjoying how many D's we actually have here, because quite often the D's often end up being the smallest group, and even though they have the biggest lead out at the beginning and they have the best kind of time advantage, they're often given because they're normally a smaller group. That means it's harder for them to work together as a team and stay away. So I'm really excited by the fact that we have so many D's out on course. That means they have a really good chance. From the D's to the A's, it's 9 minutes. So they have a really good opportunity if they work well together. They communicate well. Everybody we don't drop too many people. Nobody attacks. Then I think they have a really good chance today. So it's going to be really exciting. And that's the great thing about the chase race, is that you really don't know which category is going to win. And if you're really lucky, you will find all of the teams or all the categories coming together in the last couple of kilometers. And the great thing about the chase races as well, that there is an opportunity where normally it happens around the C's and the B's, one of the categories where the Bs might catch the Cs, and there is an opportunity to actually work together, and you end up with a mega blob, as it were. Of course, the Bs are going to want to push on, but quite often there's some of the Cs that can hang with them, and yeah, that means that group can really swell, and then it's really a tricky one for the Ds to stay out there the whole race. So yeah, so we're with the Ds. We're going to hop back and take a look at the Cs and see how they're getting on. We also, if you are watching, whether you're watching on Twitch, whether you're watching on YouTube, if you want to stick something in the chat, then we will be seeing all of your messages. And just as I say that, I see Tiago, he dropped a message in there. We've got shouts out for M, for Lynn. Melissa says good luck to everyone. Random Stellar also says good luck to level racers. So shout out to the level team. And Carla was in there first. Good luck, everyone. So I can see Carla's very keen, but also a great person in the whole women's racing scene. So unsurprising that she was first. So,
one thing to keep an eye out for. So each of our categories are going to be representing. They're going to be sporting different jerseys. So just kind of an easy visual to keep the categories separate, which is pretty standard for a chase race. So you're seeing those category Ds, ladies. They're in the Zwift Academy 2022 women, or the women's jersey of Zwift Academy of 2020. Excuse me. So the hot pink with some stripes. Category C, whenever we hop over to them, you're going to see them in, I believe it's blue that fades to pink. And that comes from Women's Week in 2018. It's nice, very kind of Zwift to give us a whole week in 2018, but we're going to take the whole month of March. Thank you. Category B, you're going to see the women in the Rafa Ladies Souplesse kit. I had to practice how to say that. And it's kind of a burgundy with a pink stripe on the sleeve. And then category A is going to round everybody out in the Box Women Tour jersey. Can't remember off the top of my head when that tour was, but Box Women is actually a very cool site for all things women's cycling. There's race reports from Grand Tour riders, and there's how-to videos. I think there was even a how-to video on how to ride rollers. So if that's something you want to, just learn a little bit more about the women's side of racing, which we highly encourage you to do, especially during the month of March and any other month of the year, head over to boxwomen.com. Here we have the the C's on course. We're sitting in with Jay Bacon of Coalition and Dirt. We've got some OTR teammates in there. Paige One Row. I actually race with Paige in real life. Hi, Paige. She races for Revo. She is also out of the Chicago area. Lots of Coalition in here. Love seeing some Coalition in here since they are our hosts today. Thank you, guys. As we mentioned, they started 6 minutes past the hour. So they're going to snake their way through Neokio. I'm really interested to see how much organization goes on within the groups. And there was substantial, behind the scenes organization going on in our Fem Cycle Collab Discord channel, which, ladies, if you're not in, or gentlemen, if you're supportive of ladies events, there was a lot of organization with sort of let's see, quote unquote team leads, or rather category leads. The leader of our category C is going to be Lynn B of BMTR, a very good friend of mine.
Who you can see right here at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, so Lynn is going to be, her name says it, Lynn of BMTR. So we're going to hopefully see I'd like to see actually some messages popping in, saying, hey, let's get organized, let's get structured. Because there's a handful of different techniques that riders or categories can use to chase down the category in front of them. Reese, if you want to, actually, let's head over to the bees real quick. So we're in with Becca Neeson, the woman, kind of the woman of the hour. She's been the brains behind this whole operation. She saw a whole, like an empty space of women cycling, and she said, you know what, I'm going to fill it with the help of 150 plus of her close friends. And so with that, and with the help of, a coalition behind her, she was born the Femme Cycle collab. And this is speaking from my own words, but it seemed to be that she was like a self-proclaimed whiskey connoisseur.
Is it whiskey or rum?
Or is it? I think it's rum. Yeah, I stand corrected. Maybe I just learned
just alcohol in general.
Alcohol in general. And she actually, speaking of alcohol, she is actually participating live. You can see down at the bottom, it says live at the bar. She is our rider in the pink headband, front and center. So
let's
she
just
is
move her to, let's just get a close up of the women who are racing from the bar.
We've got
the
BMTR
as
in there. Yeah. It looks incredibly sunny there. Which I believe it's just after 11 o'clock in the morning. And I know for a fact there is going to be some day drinking going on because the bar that is hosting them, hi Becca, is in Hellsburg, California, which is just north of the Bay Area. The bar is called...
there we go, we've got a wave.
Multi Amici, which means... Is it with friends? I want to say it was, something in Italian that means come together. And they have a International Women's Day cocktail that they called the Chase. And everything is locally sourced from Northern California. And then it's either women-owned or co-owned, like bitters and liquors, except for, I think, the chartreuse that's in there. But it's called the Chase. There's New Alchemy Arborist Gin, Rue de Rêve, can't say French words very well, Rose Aperitif, Yellow Chartreuse, so I guess that's not locally sourced, Flora Luna Citrus Basil Bitters, sounds delicious, Mint Peppercorn Honey, yum, and lemon juice. Eventually I'll get the recipe and I'll make it myself.
Nice. I just want to say that there are some of the sea riders, I think, who just got caught there. It's not the main group, but the bees did just catch some of the riders who had fallen off the back. So there is already a little bit of attrition going on, and some of the riders are already being caught out on course. So also part of the, I guess, the difficulty or a trouble you have, especially with these chase races, is trying to jump between groups and catch or see them when they actually get those catches, because it can be quite difficult. So where possible, we're going to try and jump around, find the riders, find when the groups are actually catching one another. But we might possibly miss them, because sometimes it can happen right in the blink of an eye. And the bees are absolutely flying at the moment.
They're definitely crushing it out there. I know this. So this rider, I believe it's Jamie Chase we're watching. She has a set of legs that I have rarely seen on a human being. So I was actually not surprised to see that she was kind of that catalyst rider that went off the front, and then you ultimately saw the group kind of scoop in and allow her back into the draft. But she has that ability to just go long and just like that true, I think they call them diesels, IRL racing, but can just send it off the front and really establish the speed that's going to keep this group rolling.
I mean, she's there. She's pushing over 5 watts per kilogram on the front there. So she really is working to push this B group as hard as possible. And That's also what you need. You need people to kind of step up. You need people to come to the front and do turns, or at least encourage others to keep the pace high, because it's very easy. I mean, it's a balance, right? Because you want to push hard, but you also want to keep everyone together. Otherwise, if the group gets split up, then you're going to have less firepower overall. And that will make it more difficult later on, especially as you start to get more and more fatigued. So it's always that fine balance. And it's also where the communication part comes in really important. The more people you can get on Discord to chat to and communicate that, the better, basically, because yeah, almost the team which not only works the hardest but also communicates the best is going to be the most successful. It's kind of true of all racing, but I think especially in this this kind of chase race format. I mean, it's very strange because you are essentially having to work with all of the people who you're also racing against. So it's a really unique kind of format. And we're just seeing here that, I mean, that surge from Chase has, you know, done a massive effort in the fact of, like, it's drawn the group across, and they've just overtaken yet more riders from the groups ahead. So the bees look to be on fire, and they need to be, because out of all of the signups, 42% of all of our signups are in the C category. So they have a massive numerical advantage, and the bees only at 18%. So they're the second largest group out there. So it's great to see them pushing, already catching some riders. And I think this places them in a really good position to actually get the win. The course itself is 24.7 kilometers. So, you know, we're not even halfway yet. So it's very interesting just to see how well they are already doing. Yeah, and I'm going to hop in with the A's now because we haven't given them any attention. We'll hop in with the A's, just see how they're doing, and then we'll try and jump back to the D's just to catch up on how they are. So hopefully we can go over and see Anna Russell, who hopefully is in the group. And yes, we go perfectly. So the A's look like there's already some riders up the road from them. I don't know if they are some B's that were dropped. But that's going to be interesting to see. But the A's are looking a lot smaller than I thought they were going to be. Naturally, they're going to be the smallest group. I think there was about 40 of them who were registered, but it looks like there's slightly less out here. So that's also going to be a bit of an issue for them if they are that low on numbers.
I think we're going to see the most organization out of the A's, because most of these riders have, dare I say, all of these riders have the most experience on course. Melissa77 says there's only 20 A's out there today in comparison to the well over 120 C's. So tough. what the A's lack in number, they do make up for with skill. And I know their team, or their category lead, is M. Nyquist down here at the bottom. Also a very good friend of mine, and she is strategy guru. I've definitely, been in some chats with her, for not only this race, but past races, where we're bouncing strategies off of each other. And she actually comes from Team Riot, which is known to have extremely good race strategies. Anna Russell is also, I think Anna Russell is also on that team.
I mean, I know she's been racing with Saris.
Yeah, Saris. Yeah. Riot is the community team, I believe. I know there's a relationship between the two of them. We don't have to get into it. Anyway, so it looks like, there could be a little bit of like a conga line going on, maybe a time trial. Scooping up, spitting out one of the D's. We see, these ladies are fast and fierce and furious.
They've got the disc wheels on, so they're here to race. I think that one of the hardest things, especially for the A's, is that you are going to be catching and passing so many dropped riders, single rider here, small group there. And so it becomes really hard to know how far are we actually off the main group. So at the moment, you can see just on the right-hand side, it looks like they're about 2 minutes behind the, well, maybe it's a little bit more, that's the thing. So they looks like they're about 2 minutes behind the bees. But if you see a little bit further up, you can see actually they're nearly 3 minutes still. So their gap to the bees was 3 minutes. And it looks like they've only maybe closed about 15 seconds, which is what it looks roughly to be like. So I think they look like they're working pretty well together. I can see in the chat that they're being very active, saying they're on, they're off, which is great. I totally suspect they're one of the most well organized. They definitely have the experience when it comes to the racing. You've got racers in here who have raced at the elite level, and they know exactly what they're doing. However, that numerical advantage, I mean, they could really have done with everyone who'd signed up joining the race, because now they've got half that amount, and that means that is a hard, when we're talking about like 140 riders in the C's versus 20 in the A's, that is a tough challenge. But if anybody can do it, it is this A group. But yeah, they're going to have to work incredibly hard if they're going to close this gap.
Yeah, we had a question in the chat from Jake Bailey. Will the A's draft be less with 20? Short answer, yes. The higher number of participants that you have in a group, the way the algorithm kind of works in Zwift, the higher numbers, the more benefit you get from a draft. So the group with the highest benefit of draft, I guess, is going to be our largest group, the C's. B's are also going to have a pretty substantial draft, since they have a pretty big group. It looks like, so we're in, this is the D jersey. So we're in with the D's today. We've got Potter from Coalition, Gray from Galaxy, Johannesson from, I think it was NZ Bros. They're still in front. Like they're still working. I'm pretty proud of these. Pretty proud of these D's. Jay Larson in here.
Yeah, they have just hit. They are now with just 10 kilometers to go. So they've just hit that marker. So now they're at 9.9 kilometers to go. This is great work from the D's to be at this point and still be out in the lead. We have the Coalition Chase Race every Friday, and quite often, as I said at the beginning of the live stream, you see the D's, they're a much smaller group. It's harder to be organized, but they are doing a fantastic job currently. However, they've just hit, just as we're speaking, they've just hit the 4%, 3% gradient, and it's these little inclines that can be the ones which tear a group apart. So it doesn't matter how well they're organized. They're going to have to be super well organized now, so that everybody just sticks together. This isn't a massive climb by any measure, but it can be enough. And you can see the group is already getting stretched out. And really, when you get to like the brow of the hill, that can just be where that elastic kind of snaps, and you can see those gaps opening up. So this is, I would say, crunch time for the D's. How well organized are they going to be? How controlled are they going to be? Because whilst they do need to push on, it is essential that they keep as many riders with them as possible. So it's going to be fascinating to see how well they do here and what that gap is going to look like back to the C's, who are rampant. I haven't seen what the gap is like back to them. They started with 4-minute handicap, but yeah, we saw the size of that group. It was colossal. So, and you can see the riders as well. You can see Lynn in the videos at the bottom of the stream working incredibly hard throughout this race. This is not easy. And you can also see the women at the bar. I mean, Becca is out of the saddle, and she's not even on this particular climb. So it just shows how hard everybody is working in this race, even when they're on the flat sections.
I wonder if we can hop down to the category C to see if that group in the back and of that mini map up in the corner, see if we can maybe get a time gap on the category C.
Oh, I think that is the bees just catching the Cs, right? So the bees have literally
Oh,
just overtaken the Cs. So I just caught, I think Jane was at the front of that group. Jane Bacon was just at the front of that group. And I'm not sure if any of the actual, any of the Cs have actually managed to stick with the B group here.
yeah, I
So,
think it was just a sort of blow through the group. Excuse us, we're on a
but
mission.
But look at how stretched out it is. I mean, it's a mess, like as in just trying to figure out where everybody is. That's the other thing. When you actually do get to this scenario, it can be very easy for riders to suddenly surge and then lose some of the riders further back. So but it looks like currently, I don't know how the A's are doing. We will check in with them. But at this point, it looks like it is going to be B's versus D's. So we're going to hang with them
Yeah.
for the minute.
So we've got. I know. I saw a name, Tammy Costain. She's a pretty impressive climber who I've raced with in the past. It'll be interesting to see if she's able to pull that group up and over that, um, just that little apex, I guess, of a climb. Oh, we do have some C's who are able to hang in with the B's here.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered who's got which jerseys because that's the bit I'm struggling to remember.
I spent a long time memorizing who was wearing what.
Yeah, so just looking at this helicopter view, I mean, it is really like strung out there, and we are just getting on to the 5% section. So again, it's not the toughest section of any of the routes of the map, but it can be enough just to get some of the riders dropped off of the back. But if we lose some of the Bs off of this main B group, they might be able to team up with some of the Cs and form a weird sort of counter group. It would be Bs on B violence in that sense. So that would definitely be interesting. Paul's just put in the chat. He says, I always want the Ds to win a chase race. Yeah, Paul, I think, everybody loves an underdog, and the Ds definitely have the hardest. I mean, they're not chasing anyone. So everybody's doing a chase race except for the Ds who are basically leading a chase race. So they don't really have like the carrot. So I find that mentally kind of makes it a bit more difficult for the Ds. So yeah, you always want them to hang out there for as long as possible. Neil also says, who has the legs on the last climb? Wife's dead on the floor, so the bees have been killing it.
Maybe too much. No, that's how you know you did a Zwift race correctly. If you have energy after a Zwift race is complete, you didn't race it right.
It's very sad to say, but I have seen my elite riders vomit more times than I would like.
Yep, I've been DS, and my riders have vomited noises in my ear. I have to put the headset down for a minute so I don't puke myself.
So, you are the expert with the jerseys. Are these the
So we've got C's, and I think there's one. No, these are C's, but I think there's a D. There might be some D's and definitely B's in there.
Right. Well, that means that this means that this is. I think this is the front B group with some C's, and a bunch of B's have been dropped from that group. That's what it looks like.
I'm pretty much in agreement. I I'm kind of looking out for that turquoise helmet of Jamie Chase. There she is, because I just know her strength, and I know she's going to be up towards the front. Then we have Lynn saying C's. Oh, I missed that. But
So I'm
some
just
C's were
trying to
going to be
see what the
there.
gap looks like. So it's hard to tell exactly what that gap looks like to the D's up front, because there are a few riders who've been dropped. So it's 20 seconds, I think, just to some of the drop riders, but that's not the main group. So let's just quickly hop on over to the A's just to see how they're doing, and then we'll come back to what's happening at the front of the race, because we're heading towards the last 6 kilometers of the race, so we don't want to miss any of the action happening at the front. So let's just see, where the A's are at, and whether they have a real chance of actually catching this group, because now it's a CB mega group. I mean, if you look at the map at the top, you can't see the other riders even on the map. So maybe that tells you as much as you need to know about the A's chances.
And they're just over halfway through. They're on that bridge that sort of connects the two. I think it's two halves of the Mecca Island, or maybe it's two separate islands. But they're cooking. They're cooking with, what is that phrase? Cooking with gas.
They are, but I mean, they need jet fuel right now. So,
of all the riders, they have the jet fuel.
They do. But I don't need those little like butane ones. They need to get that serious jet fuel, because it is do or die right now for this A group. And again, it's that fine balance that we've been talking about, going as hard as possible whilst keeping everybody with you. It's the ultimate team time trial right here. So,
and you can kind of see riders sending. So if you see a rider in the back, they're almost sending that rider from the back into the front. We saw a little bit, and it definitely happens easier on a descent. But that can be a really useful technique to keep that pace high. And I know a lot of times some teammates, some teams will really use that to their advantage. They'll say, okay, if you're in the back, give it a push. And then, through the aspects of the game, they're just going to, it's like that slinky water toy at least when I was a kid, that we would like put on our hands, and then you could like slide it up and down your arm. You can it's almost like a snowball effect. But it's just that constant catalyst.
There's already prediction coming in from Zwift Insider, who are in the chat, saying D's will be caught and dropped in Pain Cavern.
Oh, that's the other loop-de-loop, right?
Yeah, that Pain Cavern is a very interesting one, because the road is so, I don't know, switchy. Like, you can see the riders all the way up. So we're going to hop on back over to the B's, because Carla said in the chat as well, it's 22 seconds between the B's and the D's. So I think this is where the action is going to be coming from. So
you see Mark Larson wishing Jess Larson, go D's.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in with, this is B's and C's. Oh, yes, we're with Becca.
So is Becca in the front group of the B's? Let's just hop ahead. I mean, they're really split up now. So the gap's looking at about 20 seconds still. 20 seconds. So let's hang with the B's here, because this is where the fight for the win, I think, is going to happen.
Yeah, I think. Well, so they're on the western. I got to think about this course in my head. McCurry is incredibly twisty and turny, which for those of you who know me know that my sense of direction goes out the window when the roads don't run in straight lines. Okay, so there's the loop-de-loop up in the little mini map. Okay, so they're about to enter the pain cavern. So we'll see when. I want to say if they catch the D's. I'm kind of rooting for
you got to
D's
keep the
too.
tension. So it's got to be an if.
An if.
Yeah.
Big if.
There is no guarantee. I mean, look, there's already riders getting dropped here, or at least it's being stretched out. So
I mean, they're at 5-6% here. If you're like putting real big efforts on the flats, then all of a sudden you've got, if you're a flat rider, and then all of a sudden you've got to do, 5-6% pitch upward.
this is dangerous as well. So there's feathers being dropped. They are going to catch some of the riders ahead of them. But this isn't the main group. However, here you can see, they can see the D's ahead. This is the problem if you're on that Tron bike. It acts as a beacon. If they wanted to be a little bit more stealthy, they should have been riding some sand-colored bikes. I don't know how many sand-colored bikes there are in Zwift, but they can see the front of the D's up ahead. I think they're going to lose some more of their B's further back. You can see Becca here. She is staying with this front group. And you can also see Becca here live. She's out of the saddle. She is working hard and not even using the sweatbands. She doesn't need it. But yeah, she's hanging tough with this front group. And yeah, it's super cool to see her working away live in the flesh. But they haven't caught the D's just yet. So it is close. This route is 24.7. So there's still 2 kilometers to go. So this is super close between the D's and the B's. And it looks like the B's have been obliterated, which if you are a competitive B, great. You've lost some of your potential competition. However, it might be difficult now. You're going to have to work extra hard to stay away. So, yeah, how many D's are going to be able to stay with the B's? I'm not sure if they've all been consumed just yet, but I think some of them have. Oh, there's a couple just up the road. It's going to be hard for them, though, especially considering how hard they've worked out there to stay away for so long.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised that the D's have been able to stay away this long. They must have had some really good organization. I know it was Susan Clark from Coalition who was their category lead. So she must have had some stellar organization with that crew in order to, establish and maintain that gap.
Yeah, well, we can see now. There are some riders further up the road, which is very interesting to see. I'm not sure what category they're from. We can just hop on over and see where they are. So I think that is some D's further up. So okay, the B's are not there yet, which is pretty fascinating to see. I thought they'd caught everyone.
The B's catching. I don't think the main group of D's has been caught. I could be wrong, but this seems to be the main.
No, yeah, you're right. There are some further up the road.
I think the D's still have a lead on them. And then, I mean, we're seeing, the B's pretty much just obliterate every group they're going through. Crush it from OTR. So that's category C. And then our right, so Mim from Level is the category B group. Or the category B lead.
Okay.
I love seeing the constant words of wisdom from Lynn. We've seen a lot of encouragement from that woman, which is how she is in real life. Wonderful part of being her friend. Cassandra from OTR, let's crush it.
Do you know this question? And we did have a question.
Oh, how many
Amy says,
cocktails
how many
has
cocktails has
Becca?
Becca already had?
You know what? Based on this performance, I bet 0.
Uh,
Although I would love to know if she's had 1 or 2, and still able to pull off this performance. I would be extremely impressed.
oh, this is catching the finish here is incredibly hard. Thank you, Zwift, for making it so difficult. So we're going to try
Okay, so
and
we've got.
catch. So on my screen it says 14th place. However, this looks like pretty much front of the race. I can't tell if those other riders are actually off the front or not. So
I think so because there's 24.6. So Hammer, How? Nope. Howler
how's
2.
me in
Yeah.
the pen? So we're just coming
Yeah,
up to the
Langhammer.
final
I think
sprint here. So that is it as they come across the line. Let's just quickly hop on over to Anna Russell just to see where the A's are at. And the A's are so far back right now. I'm actually surprised, but look how many A's are actually left. And here you can see in the chat, Anna is saying regroup at the top A's. Well, I think it's sadly too little too late. Not saying they didn't work hard, but yeah, that numerical disadvantage was hard work for them. So, but they are just coming into the last kilometer now. They're going to be speeding past all of these other riders, and it is going to be tough for them because they're not going to know. They're going to have no idea if they're going to make it or not, or if they're close or not. That's definitely the problem when you have these bigger chase races. It can be super difficult to actually have any idea how close you are to the front unless you actually pass the D's and you know almost for sure. But even then, the other groups could have passed them. So you have to know you've passed every single group on the road, and that can be very difficult when it's split up like this. But let's see, who do we think is going to win from this A group?
Oh, my money's always on Anna Russell.
Well, she's just been passed, so
I've
Melissa's
spoken
going.
too soon.
It's a massive sprint from Melissa, so I don't think she's going to be caught by any of the other A's here.
No, she's off the front. She's got it in the bag.
He has got it in the bag. Bang. Amazing job there as the A's come across the line. So, wow, that was pretty intense. We really had no idea who was going to get it. I can see M's just finished her race. Let's just also have a look and see. There's Becca. Becca's giving us a wave. I don't know if we'll be able to get any word from Becca of how that race went, but super strong effort from her and all of the ladies who were out racing today. So maybe it is no surprise then, but really I think the B's got the win. We'll have to check the results on Zwift Power because it is possible that some of the C's managed to, or some of the D's managed to sneak away at the end. It wasn't very clear. So normally you don't get that many breakaways.
I don't think I could predict who won.
I just seen Melissa says in the chat.
Dying.
I'm presuming that's the Melissa that just won the sprint from the A's. So if so, she can't be dying that much to be able to get onto YouTube and write the message. But that was an impressive sprint at the end there. Nobody else was reacting to that. So, yeah, pretty good chase race. As I said, I'm very surprised with it split up so much at the front. Especially on that section with the kind of the slight gradient. I did think that the B's, considering how well they'd worked together, they were just going to stick together and catch all of the D's. And I was surprised how many C's managed to stay with the B's as well. So a very messy finish there. And I don't think everybody I don't think everybody fully understood where they were in that group, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the results. I believe the results will be on. I know they'll at least be on Zwift Power. Um, I am still waiting for the update, which will occur in 15 minutes, of course.
Just get on there, request for a speedier.
I've never actually found that makes it faster.
No, I mean maybe it did when Zwift Power was separate to Zwift. I don't know. But then sometimes the results took really long. So, but do you have the live results? Sometimes that can give you a relatively good indicator.
I unfortunately am not very Zwift Power savvy. I know how to join and leave teams. That's about it. But I guess we could probably begin wrapping up, unless we're
Just
so big
hopping onto the
thanks.
results now, just to quickly just see if there is anything we can say to that, at least from the live results. And
maybe if one of the writers wants to type into the chat if they were able to see.
So, I mean, from the live results, presuming if that's accurate, then I have Anthea Oliver from MZ Bro finishing first, I believe, followed by Joanne Ernst from Crush Pod, and then Laura Davies from Level. That's what it's saying, that they're all three of them are B riders. So we'll wait for the final results to be published on Zwift Power, but that is what the live results seem to suggest. So it does look like the B's got it. Emma Porter, who is a C rider, apparently came in fourth, which is an incredibly good effort.
Yeah, Emma Porter is a fabulous rider. I remember watching her at Tour de Boudica, just watching her demolish the C category.
Let's just quickly see. I don't know if it will be possible, but if Lynn and M, no, M wasn't able to work. Lynn, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Great. How was the race for you?
It was really good until they lost me on the climb, and then I just switched into DS mode, put fan view for the front group to see what they were doing, tried to keep them in the loop of what was going on. They did great. My ladies were fabulous.
Awesome. Yeah, it looked super tough. And I think that you had some shout outs as well in the chat, which was cool to see.
A lot. You had a lot of shout outs.
Well, once I got dropped, it was easy to just drop my watts and focus more on the people that were in the action.
Cool. There's just a slight delay, so we're going to switch back. But Lynn, great racing, really cool. And it's great to be able to also have you and to have M and then Becca and the other women at the bar.
And Susan.
Just so that we can see how much you're suffering. And it definitely looked like you were suffering during some of that.
It suffered.
So it's very cool to be able to get that side of things, so that it's not just the digital avatars. You can see how hard all of the athletes are working to try and stay together. So yeah, thank you very much, Liam. That was awesome to see. Cool. All right. M's on the phone. She can't chat to us, but she is presumably in the chat, chatting to the rest of her riders. I will just take everybody else out, and then we can say ciao. There we go. So, I don't know who you were predicting to win, Jillian, but I think we said at the beginning of the race, well, actually, we thought the C's might win, didn't we? Because they had a huge numerical advantage.
Yeah, I mean, going in, I think there were about 140 Cs on the start line. There were, I think, 99 Ds and just under 60 category B women. And then, about, well, I think we had closer to 38, 40 women in the A category, but then only 20 of them started. I definitely thought C's were gonna, kind of get that huge snowball rolling, or a huge, like, either time trial line, or that ducks in a V in the sky, and then just power through. Especially because I know the organization from Lynn, she's completely capable of hurting an enormous number of cats on a regular basis. But the power, I mean, bees, like, to be a category B, you got to be pretty strong. And kind of like the big jump between B and A. And I've raced from, in category A, I've raced all the way down to category C. And the biggest thing about being category A is you can idle at such a high, like, your capacity to idle is substantially higher. Whereas, Bs, they might have a slightly less, lower idle, but they can still rev their engines up. And so if your tactic is to rev your engine at a very specific point in time, and then you've got riders in there, from what it looked like, Becca is probably a diesel rider. You've got Jamie Chase in there, just able to sort of feed off the energy that other riders are able to establish. It's like, okay, we're going to get you going, and then they can take this astronomical amount of power in their legs and just keep the momentum going. So if it ended up being the Bees who won, doesn't surprise me. But I was kind of thinking the C's were going to have it, just purely based on numbers.
Yeah, I was very surprised. So full props to the Bees there. Because, yeah, it was not an easy race for them by any measure. So, yeah, I really did think the C's were going to get it. The C's have been the most consistent winners in the coalition chase race. So I've sort of got a little bit used to seeing them be the biggest group and get the win. So I think that's great to see that the Bees were able to catch them and get the win. Amazing work by some of those C riders, though, to actually still, stay with the Bees. That is incredibly tough. So it's also possible that we'll see some of those women who might have got new FTPs, or at least some other power numbers. We do often see this, but with the chase race, if your category gets caught and you're able to hang with the category ahead of you, we see that riders do set new FTPs, like, accidentally.
Yeah, I have been seeing in some of the Discord chats that I'm in, I've already seen a couple women saying, "Oh, my FTP went up. Welcome to the next level."
Yeah, so that's the beauty of the chase race. It's a competitive race, but it also can be a fantastic kind of training tool, because if you get caught, you're incentivized to work that little bit harder to stay with that group, and then you really push yourself. And it's amazing what you can achieve, which maybe you might not be able to achieve when you're just racing with your own category, or if you're just doing training. So these types of races are really great if you are, even if you're not even intending to improve something like your FTP, it can work wonders for you, and show you how hard you can actually dig. And yeah, that's the great thing about these things. So they're fun, they're competitive, but they can show you, how hard you can actually go. So yeah, fantastic job by the Bees. Thank you to everyone as well who has left us comments in the chat. It's been great. I'm sorry we weren't able to read all of them out, but also I can see Anna Russell is in there saying thanks for showcasing women's racing. I think when the racing is, as good as it has been tonight, then it's a very easy job to do that. And especially when you have a wonderful co-host who makes things even easier. Often on my own chase races, I'm just here by myself, and it is so much easier when you've got somebody else who, as well, is really active in the women's racing community and has a lot of notes, so, and is well prepared. So that's awesome. And yeah, I can see also Melissa says I got a new FTP as well. So yeah, awesome to see. So thanks again to everybody who won, raced, and also everybody who joined in the chat and watched at home. It's been super great. Thank you a ton, Julian, for joining me, and I'll hand over to you to have the last word before we end the stream.
Thanks so much, Reese. Huge thank you to Reese at Coalition for opening up his broadcast space to host the inaugural women's Chasing the Dream chase race. Looking forward to next year already. I know it's 365 days away, but it's never too soon to start planning. If you are someone who is in support of women's racing, feel free to contact Becca or myself either through social media channels or through the comment section in here. I'm sure we'll get you linked into the Discord channel that is the Femme Cycling Collab. Huge thank you to the woman who owns the outdoor space that was used today in Healdsburg, California, the Multi Amici, for having a live event, for letting us strut our stuff on International Women's Day. Thank you to all the racers. I hope you all at least leave today inspired, and for our racers, I hope you leave today extremely tired and very excited for more Type 2 fun coming your way.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Gillian. Thanks everyone for watching, and enjoy your evening, day, morning, wherever you are. And we will see you again before next year, but if not, we'll definitely see you for another chase race this time next year.